Hi, my name is Carly Gerlach. I'm the Employer Relations Specialist at MacEwan University. Thank you for joining us on Going Global, Finding and Applying to Work Overseas. We're doing a series of interviews with graduates from universities here in Alberta who are currently working abroad. Today we have Jill, who is hanging out with us from the UK. Thanks for being here, Jill.
Thank you for having me, Carly.
First of all, if you
No
can just
worries.
start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your educational background, and where you're currently working.
Absolutely. So I graduated with my Bachelor of Management from University of Lethbridge. I attended Grant MacEwan for 2 years as well, and loved Grant MacEwan, thought it was an amazing university. Once I graduated, it was my dream to go work for a big company called Disney. So I had applied, and left for a year and a half and worked with them, and I moved to Australia, and now I'm currently in the UK working. My current role is a recruitment coordinator for a company called L'Occitane, or a French beauty global company.
So how did you narrow your search to one particular country?
Yeah, well, I think like most university students, I had a huge passion for travel, a huge passion to see what was out in the world, and of course I wanted to enable travel with a career as well. So Disney was my dream company. I'm sure everybody has a dream company that they really want to work for. So I bothered Disney. I applied for every single job I possibly could. I was constantly on their website, applying for internships, trying to talk to them, adding people to LinkedIn, until they finally accepted me and offered me a position, which was great. It was a contract for a year, and they actually extended it for 3 months.
So then basically how did you kind of take that experience and then start your search for opportunities in the UK?
So I had gotten the travel bug after living in Florida, and I took some time. I went to Australia, and I traveled Southeast Asia, everywhere from India to Malaysia to Thailand. And when I got back, I just wasn't quite ready to settle down, I think. So I wanted to find a way I could basically combine building my career and also traveling. So I thought London would be a really great place. I actually didn't know anything about London. I had never been. And I just kind of thought it would be central in Europe, and I could do weekend trips while still building my career. So I've always been in human resources, either training and development or recruitment. So I knew that that's kind of what I'm passionate about when it comes to, a corporate career. I had talked to a few friends who had lived in the UK, not specifically London, asking them advice. I remember writing a mass email to everyone. Hi guys, I'm thinking of moving over to the UK. Do you know where I should live? Do you know what types of jobs I should apply for? Just trying to really, use my networks to get a job. I knew that if you're under 30 in the UK, you can apply for a youth mobility visa. There's a lot of countries that do that, and we don't know about it, so definitely research that. But anyways, I applied for my youth mobility visa and came over here without a job, which wasn't ideal. But it was really amazing. London is so good for job opportunities. I applied for a job, I remember, on a Wednesday, and for the position I'm in right now, got a call on Thursday, phone in today, as a temp, as a recruitment coordinator temp, and then they just kept me on, which is great. I mean, it really is that quick in London. I was so worried about going there without a job, but the economy is actually quite good over here. So in London specifically, so it was easy. It was nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Could have
really
gone the other
excellent.
way, I suppose, but
Yeah. Well, and I think it's
yeah.
it's interesting to kind of think about, yeah, the experience of when you arrive and having to kind of sometimes be on the ground and be available for interviews or even just opportunities, like you said, like a temporary contract that could turn permanent. So what do you think surprised you about your work environment in London compared to maybe our Canadian work culture?
So it was actually really interesting starting work in London because, I think Canada and America are quite similar in that we're really friendly when you first show up in an office. You know, we're very hard workers, but we're also the first person to ask you, you know, oh, are you married, or, you know, something personal. And it was very interesting because I find the British culture isn't as not warm, but they're more hesitant, I think, to warm up to you. So I kind of had to quickly learn, you know, to lower my voice and my energy and really just work really hard. And now they've ended up being some of my good friends outside of work. So it's kind of, there definitely was a difference in culture. They're very reserved, I think, compared to us.
Yeah, so I was wondering if how, for example, your CV or your mail, like how is the application process there different maybe from what we're accustomed to here?
Yeah, do you know what surprised me is I think in Canada, and we are one of the most educated countries in the world. That is known. We have, I think, the most people educated when it comes to post-secondary or something like that. I was reading the other day. And what surprised me actually is more here. It's more emphasis on the actual work experience as opposed to the education, which I was a little bit disappointed in, because I think in Canada it's so nice that, you know, a degree is very important. It's just as important as work experience, whereas over here they look a lot more for work experience and industry, and yeah.
And do you think that's because the market is a bit more competitive in terms of jobs per person there, or do you think?
Definitely. I think the market is a lot more competitive. I look at CVs I get versus I did quite a similar role back in Canada as well. And it's just, I think it's a different industry over here. In my industry, it's super competitive. I just lucked out, but I know the people I've hired for this job have, like, for similar roles, have had at least, you know, 10 years of experience in the beauty industry, you know, working for Louis Vuitton and then coming over here. And so I think, yeah, you just adapt to what type of industry. And in London, there's so many people that there are a lot of jobs and everybody's competing, and it does get, you know, I can't remember the last job I posted where I didn't get at least 100 CVs, you know, applying for it. So
what are some tips or advice that you might have to somebody who's seeking work abroad?
I think my tips and advice would be just to do it, and to don't make excuses. I think we get nervous sometimes to make changes. But I think regardless, you know, if you want to spend your life in Edmonton, which is a beautiful city. I love Edmonton. I miss Edmonton. But I think everybody should go away for at least a year, because it's really going to make you appreciate what you have. It's also going to change your perspective of the world, and I think that's just going to make you a more well-rounded person and a better employee in the future. I have so many friends who want to work abroad that are constantly making excuses and this and that. Well, I can tell you, I moved here, and like I said, I didn't know a single person. I'd never been to London, and hands down, in my life, this was the best decision I've ever made. Everything worked out so easily. People are friendly, and I feel lucky to live in this city. It's very cool.
Yeah, definitely. And so are there any specific resources at all that you would recommend, or any particular websites that maybe you might have used in your search for either flats or even just in terms of researching the market at all before you left?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I had talked to my friends about that as well when I came over. My friends who lived in the UK. You know, what type of search sites do you find jobs on? Like in Canada, it's, you know, Indeed. You would go, and, you know, a third-party site where you could find a bunch of postings. Here, we do have Indeed. We have Total Jobs. We have, if you're looking into the beauty industry, we have like Retail Choice, things like that. There's so many agencies, and there's so many you know, job sites that you can search on. It just depends what kind of industry. Like that's the benefit of being in a big city is you don't have to focus on a specific industry. You really can expand and be picky because the jobs are out there.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so, and you mentioned the youth mobility visa that you moved over with. Was that is there an expiry on that? Like, how long can somebody anticipate to work in the UK with that?
Yeah, so it's a 2-year expiry date. So it's really easy to get. Now, I don't have the link for you, but you can just go on Google, and anybody, as long as you're under 30, you can apply. I'm sure that you probably already know that's pretty standard. So basically, for me, I'm lucky because I'm with a global company, so they really believe in we have offices in New York, so if I want to go to New York, I can go there. If I want to go to Hong Kong, all of that kind of stuff, which is fantastic. But I actually really like the UK, so my company is going to sponsor me, which is fantastic. But the youth mobility visa is 2 years, sponsor you. You can stay in the UK for an extra 3 years. And then from there, you get permanent residency, I've been told, in the UK. So I'll always be a Canadian, but I can stay here, which is great. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's wonderful news. So I guess the last question would be, so what do you wish you would have known before about working abroad? If you had to do it all
I
over
think
again, like what do you wish that you would have known?
I think I wish I would have known about the actual opportunities and how easy it is to work abroad. I think in school you're constantly kind of told to focus and stay in Alberta, and Alberta, like I said, the economy is amazing. It is an amazing province, don't get me wrong. But it's so easy if you're under 30 to really go work anywhere. I mean, my friends and I were looking into visas the other day, and it's like you can go live in Spain for a year. You can go live in Costa Rica for a year. You can go live in Hong Kong, in London, Australia, and New Zealand. There's so many places that we can get visas for, and I don't think we know about them. So, definitely, I wish somebody would have said, these are all the places you can go. These are all the places you can work. And it's going to be okay, and it's going to be quite easy, actually.
Well, thanks so much, Jill, for joining us so late in your day, and thanks for watching, everyone out there. Keep an eye out for more interesting career chats from Career Services. Take care.